Yep, we're recording. So it's the Razor's Edge. So you're one chapter behind. We're on chapter 8. We did the risk takers last time. So there's not actually like we could pretty much like summarize this chapter in 5 minutes. So I've gone to another book to take some stuff. So we're going to go through this. Let's have a look. Where are we? Oh, I've lost you now. So the Razor's Edge. What he's like saying in this chapter is that the difference between where you are and where you want to be, between success and failure, or succeeding to the level that you want to succeed at, is it's a razor's edge. It's the thickness of a piece of paper, can be. So he's talking about in the book, which is the same. Where are we? With the Brian Tracy, there was a horse, and they measured the horse. It was like his name was Ahmed or something, and they documented the prize winnings over the course of the season and all the statistics. And I was saying the guy that Ahmed, the horse that won the most money, was like 10 times more money than the horse that was that won the second amount of money. And they're saying that was that horse 10 times faster than the second horse, or was he 10 times better? And the answer was no. It was like quite often it would be in the nose. It would be a nose length or whatever it is in horse racing that separates the winner from the loser, or the first from the second. Can be like that much. Can be the difference between first and second, but the difference is like $300,000 in prize money. So, and Brian Tracy talks about like in sales, the top 5% of people in sales, or the top 20%, are earning 16 times. I think he says the top 20% of people in sales are earning 16 times more than the bottom 20%. And the top 20% within the top 20% are earning 50 times more, or something like that. And he's saying in that instance, it's not those people that are earning 50 times more are not 50 times better. They're just doing something a little bit different than the rest of the field. The horse is just a little bit faster. The salespeople are just a little bit more polished with their presentation, or they understand the process a little bit better. And so it's that razor's edge that can make the difference between success or failure. So let me just open this up. I thought I had it open actually. And I think what he's saying is absolutely true as well. Quite often it's just the one thing that you're not doing, or the one thing that you need to do, that makes all the difference. So, module 1, you were born rich.
And that's why like I'm taking this slow myself and just making sure all the steps, I have everything, all my P's and Q's in order, just before taking that next step. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything, that have all bases covered, and everything in order to make it successful moving forward.
Well, a big part of it is creating awareness. Well, not a big part of it. The whole part of it is having awareness and creating awareness around what you're doing and what you want to achieve. Like we've talked about with like being like your productive things you do, non-productive things, about your beliefs around who you are and what you're capable of achieving. All of these things determine those little incremental steps of improvement that you make, that ultimately determine whether you succeed or fail. Right, can we see my screen here with the razor's edge?
Yes, let's see it.
Right, so we're going to zoom through this really quick. So you're only 1 inch, 1 step, one idea away from turning onto the boulevard of beauty in your life. It has often been said that the line which separates winning from losing is as fine as a razor's edge, and it is. I'm talking about winning in a big way in all areas of your life. Somerset wrote an entire book on the razor's edge. One person just about starts a project, the other person starts it. One person almost completes a task, the other person does complete it, etc. So he's basically saying here in the workbook, there's not a lot of literature on this chapter. Keep improving keep improving your performance. So majority of people read to grade 6 and then never improve their reading skills. Taking this into account, consider the job you're doing presently and ask yourself the following questions: how good am I at doing this job? How much better could I be? You study for 1 hour a day. In 5 years' time, you would have studied for 40-hour weeks. List 6 races.
Putting the extra effort in, yeah. I mean, so many people just don't put that effort in. They're like, well, why isn't this happening? Why, what is, and it's amazing to me that they don't get it, because they're sitting there thinking, oh, well, why is that happening for this person and not me? Yeah. When you have this person over there that put hours upon hours of time into, improving themselves, self-improvement to get them where they are. And this person's half-assing it over here and thinking they should be at that same level. It's like, no, you have to put that hard work and effort in to what you're wanting to do. You got to gain that knowledge.
Well, those people only see the tip of the iceberg, don't they? But we know that the tip of the iceberg is the tip of the iceberg. It's like overnight success. It took me 10 years to achieve overnight success. People don't see the hard work that goes in. But I'm getting feedback on the recording here. So keep improving your performance. What I wanted to talk about today is I've got this book here, $1 Million Habits. So when we talk about the razor's edge and what you can do to actually make that difference, just need to. Back. This is the PDF of this book, the $1 Million Habits, which I've put into the folder, so you've got a copy of this. I'll send you a link for that. It's page 75 I want to get to. Getting closer. Increase your income by 1,000%. So this is Brian Tracy with his $1 Million Habits, and he's talking about his theory of constraints. So he says, in my book Focal Point, I explain my 1,000% formula in detail. In summary, what it says is that if you work on yourself continually, you can increase your productivity, performance, output by 1,000% each working day. If you improve your performance by 1,000% on a daily basis, in 1 week, that would be 0.5%. 0.5% per week translates to 2% per month. 2% per month translates to 26% productivity and performance output per year. Almost anyone who dedicates themselves to continual personal growth and learning can upgrade their performance and productivity by 26% a year. An improvement of 26% a year compounded means that you'll double your productivity in 2.7 years, and over the course of 10 years, by improving at 1,000% per day, you would have increased your productivity, performance, and rewards by over 1,000%, which would amount to an increase in your income of 10 times. So think about that. If you talk about the razor's edge, if you can increase your productivity, your performance, your personal development, your growth, your skill set by 1,000% per day, then in 10 years you would have 10x'd everything that you 10x'd everything. What would you have to do that? Read for 5 minutes and then actually do what you read in the book. Watch a YouTube video in your field that you're trying to improve in and then do what they say. Talk to somebody, read an article on the internet, buy a magazine in your industry, and then put into practice. Like if you're in sales, make 1 extra call a day. You do that for 10 years, and you've made quite a few thousand extra calls. So it's not actually that difficult to actually do this. So he says, not long ago, I was giving a day-long seminar, and the guy came up to him and said, I just wanted to tell you that this formula doesn't work. He smiled broadly and said, it's too conservative. It doesn't take 10 years. It only took me 7 to increase my income by 10 times using this formula. If you improve your performance by 1% a day, then you would actually be implementing this strategy, this like philosophy or idea. And then what I wanted to go through with you is, where do we start here? I've got this highlighted for you. Okay, in the first chapter, he talks about some of these laws that we've been discussing in You Were Born Rich. So I thought it'd be a good idea to go through these and like look at them from Brian Tracy's $1 Million Habits perspective. He says, what I've learned from this experience was the great law of cause and effect. Here is one of the most important of all success principles. If you do what other successful people do, you will eventually get the same results as they do. And if you don't, you won't. Nature is neutral. It doesn't favor one person over another. The Bible says God made the rain to fall on the just and the unjust. So this is what I love about this book. I found out last night Bible just means book. I was talking to one of my friends. So all of this stuff that we're talking about has been written over and over again. When you do the thing that other successful people do over and over again, you will eventually get the same results that they do. It's not a matter of luck, chance, or accident. It's a matter of law. You can learn anything. Where are we next? So the power of belief was the next thing that I highlighted here. The next law that I discovered was the law of belief. This is the basic principle that underlines most religions, psychology, philosophy, and metaphysics. The law of belief says, whatever you believe with conviction becomes your reality. In the New Testament, it says, according to your faith, it is done unto you. In the Old Testament, it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, or as he believes, so he is. And then William James wrote, belief creates the actual fact. The fact is that you do not believe what you see, but rather you see what you believe. So this is the model that we've been working with in the workbook, with the self-doom fulfilling cycle, or the creative cycle. The worst of all beliefs are self-limiting beliefs. These are beliefs that you have developed through life, usually false, that cause you to believe that you are limited in some way. Your negative beliefs soon become habitual ways of thinking. You may believe that you lack intelligence, creativity, personality, the ability to speak publicly, earn high income, lose weight, achieve your goals. As a result of your self-limiting beliefs, you continually sell yourself short, give up easily, and even worse, tell other people around you that you lack certain qualities. These beliefs then become your realities. In developing $1 Million Habits, one of the most important steps to take is to challenge your self-limiting beliefs. You begin this process by imagining that you have no limitations at all. When you develop your mind to the point where you absolutely believe that you can do anything, you will find a way to make that belief a reality. So this is what we've been working with in this programming, in this book as well, with like the visualization and the expectation. All of these techniques that we've been talking about lead to helping you, giving you tools to be able to do all of this stuff. Self-fulfilling prophecies. The next law that I discovered is the law of expectation. So we've already discussed that in the book. This law says that whatever you expect with confidence becomes your own self-fulfilling prophecy. In other words, you do not necessarily get what you want, but you get what you expect. If you confidently expect something to happen, I was going to say something.
I was like, yeah, so this, yeah, even though it's different color, wordable differently, but yeah, so this is something that we've discovered or established
Yeah.
and want to be rich as far as like the subconscious and conscious and what you're,
Yeah.
in your belief, like, okay, what you see, that picture, where do you see yourself? What are you really looking, expecting on yourself, believing in yourself pretty much, yeah. And expecting and knowing that this is possible, not putting that doubt and fear and not holding yourself back with all those negative thoughts.
Yeah. A lot of this as well comes from, a lot of this programming comes from when you're really young, like we've talked about. Like, you can put this stuff like in your children without them even knowing what you're doing, just by praising them and telling them that they're good and telling them that they can do it. It's like we sow these seeds into our children when they're young and suggestive to all of this stuff, when they don't resist it. Most of the time we say, no, don't do that, you can't do that, stop doing that, don't be silly. And that's what creates these beliefs. If you confidently expect something, then that expectation has powerful effect on the attitude and personality. The more confident your expectations, the more likely it is that you'll do and say the things that are consistent with what you expect to happen. As a result, you will dramatically increase the probabilities that you will achieve what you're hoping for. Successful people expect to be successful in advance. Happy people expect to be happy. Popular people expect to be liked by others. They develop the habit of expecting that something good will happen in every situation. They expect to benefit from every occurrence, every temporary setback, and even temporary setbacks and failures. They expect the best of other people, and they always assume the best of intentions, and they are seldom disappointed. The flip side of positive expectations are the negative expectations that many people have. They expect that other people will hurt them or disappoint them, their ventures to do poorly. Instead of the best, they expect the worst. And because the law is neutral, that's what they get, seldom disappointed. One of the most important things you can do to assure a happy, healthy, prosperous life is to expect the very best from every person or situation, no matter how it may look in that moment. Develop the habit of positive expectation, and you'll be amazed at the effect that this has on you and on the people around you. So it's back to the same thing again. Like he's saying, like these, like it's all mental stuff, isn't it? It's all mental stuff. It's all attitude. It's your attitude.
And then for like when you've had these mindsets that that were instilled in us by the way we whatever we've experienced through life thus far versus what was instilled in us as a child, right, wrong, or indifferent. When you're changing that, it is, you have to keep a conscious effort. Like that's something with me, like I feel like I've come a long ways with, I have a lot more confidence as a person and believe in myself more so than ever. I still have, those doubts and fears that want to, those thoughts that want to come to mind to cause the doubts and fears. And you just constantly have to be aware of that though and push them away and know that, that's not going to benefit me. It's just going to hurt me, and push them away and not allow them in, not let them to reside within me. So, it's a constant ongoing process that you have to constantly be aware of.
Yeah. Well, you've got how many moments in time have you got at any one point? You've got one moment in time, right? Which is right now. That's it. Now we've got another moment. Now we've got another moment. We can look back to the past and we can look forward to the future, but there are two states that don't exist in this moment. The only moment that exists is right now. And within your consciousness, within your thinking, you can't have two thoughts at the same time. You can only entertain one idea in one moment. So you can have one thought right now. That's it. when we break it down to its most simple, basic level. So you have a choice. It's like saying, going back here, saying God didn't made the rain for the righteous and the wicked. There's no discrimination between the two, other than it's like, here's your negative thought, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving. Here's your positive thought, I am worthy, I am deserving. You've got one moment to entertain one or the other. You can choose one or the other. Which one do you choose? You choose, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, I'm not good enough. And that's, you've got now, and you've got this moment, that's what you are. And it's this moment that creates the future. So what you end up with is creating that reality. You can go, I am worthy, I am deserving, I'm going to turn my back on the negativity, I'm going to turn my back on the doubt and the skepticism or whatever, and I'm going to positively expect the best, because I'm a spiritual being, I'm God's highest form of creation, and there's absolutely no reason why, if anybody else can't do it, I can't do it. There's no reason why I can't be loved. There's no reason why I'm not deserving. There's no reason why I'm not worthy, other than my own ability to allow it to come to myself. This is a problem that we all have. It's like, we don't have what we want because we don't allow ourselves to have it, because we don't feel. Sorry?
What happened to me a week ago?
Go on.
I got a raise.
Oh, there you go. Because you're in a different state of mind. You're in a different state of awareness. There you go, you see? Because you're
I said something, my 90 days was up, and said something to my boss about, what I was doing. Just, I wasn't ugly about it. I just, this is how I feel about things, what can we, do about this? And she was like, well, I got to have a meeting with my bosses, and, I'll bring this up and see what they say. And, I was getting so close. I hadn't heard back from her. I was just thinking that weekend, if I don't hear back from her by the end of this week, I'm going to say something, because I want to know if she's followed through and done what she said she was going to do. And she called me that weekend, and I'll be getting an extra $250 a week. Moving forward, I was like, awesome.
So
and, it was just, that was great, and great timing. My week, so I had 1 week where I just didn't have much overtime on this check, and I had a week where I had like half the hours, and I didn't even have a 40-hour week. So I was like, that's going to hurt, compared to what I'm used to seeing. So, it came through at the right time, and it was just, and it made me feel good. It's like, okay, well, they do appreciate what I'm doing out here, and realize that I'm doing a good job, and here, it's paying off by, them giving me this raise. So it was really awesome.
So they gave you another $250 a week?
They did. The averages out, if you do without overtime, it's $6.25 an hour.
So $12,000 a year pay rise.
It's like, wow.
There you go. You know why? Because you're worth it. Because you deserve it.
I want to just keep moving forward, and money's just going to keep flowing my way. May not know how, but I believe that I know it's going to happen. So, this is, I've never expected to do this, exactly like that. I mean, that was actually a little more than what I expected even. I was like, okay, well, that's awesome.
There you go. So you paid me $1,000 for this program, and you've had a $12,000 pay rise.
Yep.
So I'm going to take the credit then that I've given you 100%, not 100%, is it? 10 times, 10 to 1 ROI on your investment.
Exactly. So that'd be 10 times the best.
There you go.
Pretty cool.
So I'm going to put that. So I created a 10 to 1 ROI on the investment. So, and it's all up here. It's because you're worth it. Because you are worth it. Because you are deserving. Because you allow that. Because you expect it. Because you have a positive expectancy. So, and you're a living magnet. Here we go. We've got 2 minutes. The next law I learned was the law of attraction. This law says you are a living magnet. You invariably attract into your life the people, ideas, and circumstances that harmonize with your dominant thoughts. This law of attraction has been written and spoken about for 5,000 years. It's one of the most important of all principles in explaining success and failure. The law of attraction says that your thoughts are activated by your emotions. We know that it's a way that you feel, either positive or negative, and that they create a force field of energy around you that attracts into your life, like iron filings to a magnet, exactly the people and circumstances that are in harmony with all those thoughts. Like all mental laws, the law of attraction is neutral. If you think positive, you get positive. If you think negative, you get negative. Successful, happy people continue to think and talk about things they want to attract in their lives. Unsuccessful people do the opposite. One of the most important habits to develop is the habit of keeping your mind full of exciting, positive, emotionalized pictures and images of the exact thing you want to see materialize in your life and in the world around you. It's one of the most difficult of disciplines, but the one that pays off in extraordinary ways. As within, so without. The summary of the law of laws we have just discussed is the law of correspondence. This says that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. It corresponds. It's as though you live in a 360-degree mirror. Everywhere you look, you see yourself reflected back at you. People treat you the way you treat them. The way you think about yourself will be reflected in your health habits, in your appearance. The way you think about people and your relationships will be reflected back in the quality of your friendships and your family. The way you think about success and prosperity will be reflected back in the results that you enjoy. And you're seeing all of this like actually happening around you, as far as I can see. In every case, your outer world reflects back to you like a mirror image exactly what you're thinking at the deepest recesses of your mind. When you put the law of cause and effect, belief, expectation, attraction, and correspondence together, you arrive at the great universal principle that explains your life and everything that happens to you. You become what you think about most of the time. So he's basically summarized You Were Born Rich here in about 4 paragraphs. Just think, you become what you think about most of the time.
Right? Like what? Very.
So what you
overview, like what it's about.
Yeah, like what you've got with You Were Born Rich is a detailed program to give you the tools that you need to work with these different laws. Each chapter in that book, he talks about a different law of the universe and how to attain harmony with that law. And he does it in a way that makes it just easy for you. So we've got some action exercises here when we talk about the razor's edge and how we like get ahead with this personal development and these incremental improvements. So look at your field today. Identify the 3 most important reasons why some people are successful more than others. Accept complete responsibility for your life and everything that happens to you. Refuse to make excuses or blame others for anything. What self-limiting beliefs do you have that might be holding you back? And what if they weren't true at all? Where would you be? Expect the best of yourself and of others. What would you change if you were absolutely guaranteed of success? How would you behave? What actions would you take if you knew that you couldn't fail? As opposed to holding back because you're worried about what might happen if it doesn't work out. In what ways have your dominant thoughts and emotions attracted people, circumstances, and situations into your life? And how could you change this? Well, you are changing it. You've got a Caribbean holiday, you've got a nice man, you've got a pay rise, you've got everything's starting to work out well for you, as far as I can see. Everywhere you look, there you are. What do you need to change in your inner world if you want to see changes in your outer world? Determine the 3 most important habits of thought about yourself and others that you could develop to be happier and more successful. So with that last one, is one that I've been working on a lot myself recently. What are the most important habits of thought about yourself and others that you could develop to be happier and more successful? And what I've been doing is refusing to see limitation in other people. So like with family problems and all of this kind of stuff, like all the stressful traits that have been happening between people. I just refuse to see them as existing and visualize them as being harmonious and happy and positive and moving in the right direction. So there you go. I thought they were really good points in terms of this Razor's Edge.
They are. I always enjoy our talk, Corey, and that's why I hate today. It's like, oh, you know, I was so looking forward to talking to you, and I'm all this going on today, and I have to cut it short, but you know, it's okay. We have another week, and
yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing you.
We'll make it for another time.
Well, I've got this book on. I bought it as an audio book first, and then I found the PDF online, and then I bought the book. So we know it's the habits that it's like 95 to 99% of our behaviour is habitual, and we know that our behaviour creates results. It's our behaviour that creates our reality, but it's our thoughts that drive our behaviour and create the situations that allow us to behave in a certain way in those situations. So taking someone like Brian Tracy, who writes a book like $1 Million Habits, if we want to become more prosperous, I thought it'd be a good idea to actually see what some of these habits are to develop. And he's such a nice guy, Brian Tracy. He's such a gentleman, and he's really into like the law of attraction and all of this kind of stuff. So I've put this book here. Hang on. This whole book, I've put it as a PDF in one of the files with this program for you guys. So you can get the bits that we've talked about today. I've gone through and highlighted them. They're in the first chapter. So I'll send you a link to that, and then you can have a read through that in your own time as well.
I appreciate it, because that would be awesome to be able to, once, I need to finish the one I'm working on now before I go to that. But I would love to go straight to that when I'm finished with this other one. Yeah.
I've put loads of stuff. You got putting this whole like everything we've been doing. I've been doing loads of work.
I have a plethora of information to continue after I'm done with Born to Get Rich. Or You Were Born Rich, yes.
Well, I make notes on like every chapter of this book. I go through and make notes on it for you guys, so that when we're talking about it, I can like just a summary of each, like the key points. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a PDF, the whole book of just the key parts that for me from the book. So you're able to, rather than having to read the book every time if you don't want to, you can just go through and read the PDF with the key ideas to keep refreshing yourself and reminding yourself. So, because my success, your success is my success. Like your pay rise is my pay rise. Anything that any happiness that I contribute to your life is contributing to my life, because that's how it works.
I'm glad that you're continuing to move forward as well, and we are. We're both going to continue to move forward because we have our mindsets in the right place, and we're constantly gaining knowledge and learning and moving forward to make improvements on what we already know. And it's an awesome journey, and it's awesome to see that reflection in our own lives. I know it is for you as well. So, and just like I was telling you when we first started talking today, putting that on Facebook. I didn't know if anybody was going to look at it, or I was like, I hope this does, this is a good testimony that, I just said, what I felt like I needed to say, and it was
it was amazing. I really appreciate that.
No problem. And just when I got on there today to look and see responses, I was just like, oh wow, there's a lot of people that really caught interest in what I said, what I put out there, and it was really cool to see, that. I was able to give back to you in that way, Well,
it's going to be really useful. Social validation is such a powerful tool. When you're reaching out to people that don't know you, to have somebody to give you a testimonial is really powerful. But that's the other thing as well, like with the social media, when you start doing your holistic therapy, and that's not how many people are on liking your page or whatever, it's the amount of people that are actually involved with what you do. It's better to have a small number of people on your page that are actively involved with what you post and the content that you put out, than to have loads and loads of people that are not really interested. But I'm going to let you go this week, Agatha, because I can see you're in a rush to get off. So
Yes, I do. That's why I just messaged and letting the person know I'm fixing to head down because I don't want them to think that I've forgotten. Sorry to rush today, Corey.
no problem. It's nice to see you again. It seems like it's been a while since we last spoke. So
I'm so looking forward to having our normal discussion, which, I mean, we've got to talk today, and it's good talking to you, seeing you and all. And like I said, we'll talk again next week. So
have a great.
I know it seems like the weather's getting warmer, and we've both just been super busy here recently.
Well, so it's always a pleasure. I look forward to speaking to you next week.
Yeah, talk to you next week, Corey. Bye.
Thanks.